What's up, guys? I hope you're having a glorious day. Me and Cody are going to record this motherfucking podcast episode for the fourth time.
Second time today.
Second time today. Fourth time in general, because technology can eat my dick.
Great.
Oh.
Love it.
Anyways, today we are going to talk about when you should let people go out of your life in order for you to keep moving forward and to continue growing. This is something that happens naturally, and you just need to accept it. People are going to come and go because people change as they get older, as they should. You're going to learn new things. You're going to have different life experiences. You're going to want different things in general that someone else may not want anymore, and that's okay. The issue is whenever you keep these people in your life for no real reason, and they're holding you back because, once again, they want different things. And this doesn't have to be everybody, but I think it mostly applies to your core group. The people that you spend the most time with, because as me and Cody have talked about before, mostly on the past 3 motherfucking episodes that are no longer here.
Literally 25 minutes ago.
25 minutes ago. These people, the people you're around, they have the biggest influence on you and who you are becoming. When I say becoming, because you're always evolving. At least you should be. You should not be who you were 6 months ago. You should not be who you were 30 days ago. You especially should not be who you were 10 to 15 years ago, maybe when you met these people. Now, you do have situations where you guys are leveling up together. Maybe you met some dude in high school. You guys are bros. You guys have been bros since 10th grade. And you guys are both still on the same path. That's awesome. But that is so rare to come around. The people that you spend the most time with, the reason they have the most influence on you is because everything that they do falls back on you as well. It gets buried into your subconscious. Like me and Cody were just talking about, the things that you say, they might start picking up on that as well. Or maybe their mannerisms, you start even acting the same way, you know? If you want to become a certain type of person, then you need to make sure that what you're taking in is moving you in that direction. And the people you spend the most time with are going to have the biggest impact on that.
Let's talk about, the kind of different levels of friendship, Like with me, I have a very large social circle. I know a lot of people, not intimately, not anything deep, but, we're acquaintances, and we'll put that on the outer shell. I step in, people I keep in contact with, once a month, twice a month. Step in, people I talk to on a weekly basis. And then that final step, like you just mentioned, is your core group. And, I'm lucky enough to be surrounded by some fucking absolute killers.
Same, for sure.
And I'm very appreciative of that. And I think that everyone's goal should be to surround yourself with those types of people. Like you said, on a subconscious level, you picking up on, something they say, something they do, you become who you surround yourself closest with.
You don't have any control over that. It's in your subconscious. Your subconscious controls the majority of your behaviors and your actions. And that shit's getting buried in there. So that's why you need to be careful with it. But something I want to touch on real quick. The reason you surround yourself, or the reason you're able to have such a good group of people around you, is because you're always working on yourself, Cody. And it's the same with me. I have such good people around me because I relate to these people, because these people are also working on themselves, as am I. Now, these people would not want anything to do with us if we were stagnant and that if our priorities were not the same as theirs. So I think that's something important to kind of like really let that sink in. If you want to be around better people, the first step is to start working on yourself and to take that shit more seriously than anything else, because that is the one thing that you should be focusing on every day. And it's not easy. It gets harder and harder and harder the more you go into it. Like the constant self-improvement, waking up at a certain time every day, eating the right foods, getting to the gym, reading, going out into nature, all these things that just like, they're not really convenient, but you make sure that you do them day in, day out. That will attract better people into your life. And I'm really glad that the last 3 episodes messed up, because that's not something that we touched on, but it's the fact of the matter. You attract people that are like you. If you're a negative fucking person, you're going to attract negative people. If you're positive, you're going to attract positive people. If you hang out with a bunch of just people that get after it all the time, or if you're always getting after it, you're going to attract the same type of people. So really, like, take a look at yourself. Don't just judge your friends. Don't say, well, my friends do this, my friends do this, my friends do this, and put yourself on some fucking pedestal. No, you are the one that is allowing that behavior to happen because of your actions. So the first thing is to take a look in the mirror. See where you need to improve on. Don't just blame other people. If all your friends want to do is go out to the bars and stuff all the time and get shit-faced, and they're not like taking any steps to become a better person, they're the same person that they were 10 years ago, well, for one, you're still hanging out with them. But also, you don't have any other options available. How dare you cough on this podcast?
Trying to get away from the mic.
You don't have any other options available because maybe you're not doing enough for yourself. It's one thing to say, listen to this podcast, or to watch some fucking motivational YouTube videos, or follow some shit on Instagram. But it's a different thing to put it into action. But when you do start putting it into action, these people will naturally gravitate to you. That's what I've experienced throughout my life. I'm sure you have as well.
Same. And, the people closest to me, I've almost set a standard for it.
Well, they set a standard for you too.
They should. And if I'm fucking up or they're fucking up, our relationship allows me to check that, or for them to check me. Like, hey, man, you're slacking here. Pick it up, And it's because they love you, and that's exactly what it is.
Right. And if you take that negatively, that's something that you need to work on. If someone is giving you, now there's 2 different ways. There's some people that just want to criticize everything. Fuck them. Like, I've been around those kind of people. They're extremely annoying. But if you have a friend that is just like hitting you with some hard truth that you need to hear, embrace that. Be happy. Be grateful that you have someone in your life that is willing to do that for you. Now, if you surround yourself with nothing but yes men, and they're not giving you this constructive criticism, that's when you need to kind of take a look at your social group. Are these people actually like wanting the best for me? Or are they just, am I just someone that they hang out with so they don't feel alone, and that way they don't have to deal with their own bullshit? Those are 2 different things.
I think that is very important to recognize.
It's hard to recognize it though, especially if you've been around the same people for so long, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. It becomes a habit. Hanging out with these people, it's literally a habit. Going out every weekend, that's a habit. Going out every once in a while, that's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. Go out, have a few beers with your friends. Cool, awesome. But don't make it a weekly thing or every weekend thing. That's when you kind of need to take a step back. Like, is what I'm doing moving me forward? Or the people that I'm hanging out with, are our priorities the same? And they may not be. And that's when you kind of need to reevaluate things and have that hard talk. Are these people holding me back, or are they moving me forward?
When talking priorities, I think a lot of people will be like, associate that with the same path. You might not have the same path, but if you're growing and working towards something, you might not be working towards the same things, but it's relatable.
The way I look at that, man, our priorities are different. They're getting more aligned because you're starting your own business and stuff like that. Yeah. But the majority of my friends do not own their own businesses. So this is my priority. This podcast, Norse in general, my kid, these are my priorities. That's not necessarily yours or anyone else's. But the thing is that you are working on your own stuff. You're getting after it in your own way. And that's all I ask for.
Yeah.
I want to surround myself with people that want more out of life, because that makes me want more out of life. That motivates me compared to people that are just stagnant and they don't want to get out of their comfort zone. So they continue to do the same shit day in, day out. And then you get stuck in that little cycle that they're in. Or they make you feel bad because you want to break out of that cycle. And they say, oh, you changed. You're not the same person you used to be. Good. I do not want to be the same person that I was last week, especially not the same person I was 5 years ago.
Take that as an indication.
Take it as a compliment.
As you like, you can see yourself changing, but when other people start to see you change,
that's a good feeling.
It's validation. that you're headed in the right direction.
Yeah. And a lot of times though, people will make you feel bad for self-improving, for working on yourself because they hate themselves. They see that you're leveling up. They see that you're getting juicy because you're going to the gym. You're eating right. You're losing weight. You're eliminating destructive habits and behaviors. And they realize that they can't do the same for themselves. So they talk down to you and they make you feel bad because they can't do it. You cannot allow that to take place. If someone starts making you feel bad because of their own bullshit, that's their problem. And that's hard. That's when you have to watch yourself talk at that point. Because if someone tells you something that, all you do is go to the gym, is that really necessary? Should you do that? That's when you have to go, yes, that is necessary because that's a non-negotiable. And you should have non-negotiables. These are things I have to do. I have to work out. I have to eat healthy. I have to read. I got to drink a gallon of water a day. Whatever it is. These are non-negotiables. I have to do that. I'm going to limit myself to only 2 drinks a week. Every Friday I might have 2 to 3 drinks. No more. I'm not doing it. That is a non-negotiable. And if they're not okay with that, that's their fucking problem. Because these are things that you have to do in order to continue moving forward and to get to the destination that you want to reach. That goal that you have in mind, that goal that you're visualizing when you're in bed at night or when you wake up in the morning. This is where I'm going. And these actions, these daily habits are what gets me there. And these are my non-negotiables. And if anyone gets in the way of those non-negotiables, you distance yourself from them. But you can also have a conversation with them. You don't have to be just some complete dickhead about it and say, well, this is where I'm going. Fuck you if you don't like that. No, just say, hey, I'm really trying to work on myself. I'm really trying to improve who I am. I'm trying to lose weight, for example. I would really appreciate it if you supported me on this. I know it might be an inconvenience. Maybe we won't be able to go out all the time like we used to. But I need to do this for myself. And if they are a good friend, they're going to understand that and they're going to support you. And maybe, just maybe, they start doing the same thing. Instead of you and your bros going out every weekend chasing ass or whatever people do at bars, you guys start going to the gym every Friday and Saturday night. Or maybe you guys go camping and you sit around a fucking fire. Those are my best friends. The people that I can go and sit around a fire in the middle of the woods and we just have a good time. We take some mushrooms, we look at the moon, we have deep, sincere conversations with each other. Those are the people I want to be around. But I've seen it throughout the years too, even here at the Norse compound. Who we are now compared to who we were 4 years ago are not the same. And that's the majority of the people here. And I love that. I love that all of my friends, my core group, they're not the same as they used to be. But we're all moving in the same direction, which is forward. And we're not staying in the same place and we're not moving backwards. Every once in a while, we move backwards because of life. We lose control of ourselves. I've been there a few times. I spent a whole year there, actually. But I got out of it. And I could not have gotten out of it if it wasn't for my core group. Because I surround myself with the best.
I've made it a goal for myself to surround myself with people that want me to do better and that I want to do better for. And that's because if I work on myself, if I improve myself, if I elevate myself, that's going to carry over into your close friend group. Regardless of your path, regardless of your direction, as long as it's up and forward, that's all I can ask for, man. And it's almost like, say I'm going through like a little spurt of depression,
Because it happens.
It happens. I want to get out of that for myself. I also want to get out of that for the closest people around me. So it doesn't weigh them down.
Because it does weigh them down.
It does.
But the thing is like your close friends, your family members, people like that, when you're dealing with shit, it's okay for a little while. What's not okay, and when they get annoyed and irritated, is when you're not doing anything to get out of it. And sometimes, man, like it doesn't matter what you do, you can't seem to make any forward movement on it. You're just stuck in the same place. Sometimes it gets even worse. But as long as you're taking action and the people around you, they see that. They see that you're trying to get out of this hole that you're in. They will be with you for as long as it takes. But once again, they're getting weighed down. But it's a risk that they're willing to take. They're willing to do that for you because they care about you. Okay, yeah, every time you call me, you're complaining because you're depressed and all this shit. You're venting. I don't want to say complaining. You're venting. And venting is okay, especially to people that you're close to. You have to do it. You can't keep that shit bottled up inside. And they're willing to listen to that. And then when they got the phone, they got to shake it off. They're like, oh, damn it. I can't wait for him to get back to normal. But they will stick with you that entire duration. But once again, it goes back to your point. I want to continue moving forward. I want to become a better person because I know it's going to make the people that I hang out with, it's going to improve their quality of life as well. The more things that I can offer, the more value that I can provide to my friends and my community and my family, that's the motivation, man. And you're 100% right on that.
It should be, man. And just to throw out an example, I introduced some of my close people to like Wim Hof breathing, and they do it every day now.
Good.
And, that's good to see because it works, and I want self-improvement. I want them to improve. And it's very, I don't want to say validating, but it's very, nice to see your close group open up to you that way. It's going to strengthen your friendships.
Well, it's nice to see that you have that kind of positive influence in their lives. When you do something, when you discover something new, because that's all this is, man. It's discovering. Yeah. It's always discovering new things that makes you a better person. And when you can share that knowledge with someone that you care about to help them improve too, and they actually take action on it, that is the best feeling. Because once again, you're not leveling up alone. You're leveling up with someone that you care about. But let's talk about the other side of it. Let's talk about the people in your life that just don't want to level up. They want to remain stagnant. They have no aspirations for a better life. And the reason for that is because they are comfortable. That son of a bitch word. The one thing that holds everyone back, including us, is comfort. Comfort is glorious. There's a reason that we have so many luxuries in life now is because humans over the past thousands of years have said, I don't want to deal with this shit anymore. And we use this magnificent fucking thing of ours called the brain to figure out solutions. But now it's gotten to a point where shit is way too comfortable. And if you're not careful about it, you get stuck. This wasn't an issue necessarily that our ancestors had to deal with because life was harder. They had to continue improving in order to live and to survive. We no longer have to improve to survive anymore. So we go, well, my life's not bad. It's okay. Could it be better? Yeah, but I'm okay with where I am right now. Yeah, maybe I'm 50 pounds overweight, but that's okay. It's all right. My neighbor's 50 pounds overweight too. It's the new normal. It's okay. Big is beautiful. We start justifying comfort. And that's dangerous.
That's very dangerous.
That is dangerous. But that's why these people in your life, they don't want the same. Maybe over the past 6 months, because when you start working on self-improvement, it kind of happens not necessarily overnight, but very quickly you start realizing that you want more for yourself. And then once you realize that, you start taking action on it. You start reading, you start watching YouTube videos, you start asking people for advice. You start taking action on it. And that's you getting out of your comfort zone because that shit is not easy. And if you are someone that's doing that, congratulations, because you are a minority. But what also comes with that is that it's a lonely path almost. At least in the beginning, until you attract these better people, you're probably going to lose people in your life because they just don't understand it. Why does he want to take these risks? Why does he want to go to the gym and be sore and all this stuff all the time? Why does he want to eat chicken and rice and beef and rice all the time instead of, enjoying food? They just can't wrap their head around it. Those are two different realities. You guys do not see things on the same page anymore.
It's not only difficult to, be self-aware enough to recognize your own faults, but when someone else points out where you're lacking, it hurts a lot more, because they can see that from an outside perspective. You understand it, but now it's branched out into a different realm where everyone around you sees that shit too.
It's not that insecurity that you're holding in. You think it's a secret.
Yeah. You're like, oh, well, I only know about this. Nah. If you surround yourself with like-minded individuals and just good people, they're going to let you know. And they should.
They should. And that should you. If you are on the other end of that and you see someone that you truly care about and they're fucking up, let them know. And if they want help moving forward, be there to help them. But you can't force that on them. We've talked about that in the past on a previous episode. People have to want things for themselves. They want to have to improve for themselves. You cannot want more for them than they want for themselves. And that's a hard pill to swallow as well, especially when it's someone that you care about.
You talked a little bit ago on communication, which is huge. Huge part of anything, really. Communication is very important in all aspects of life. I also want to touch on understanding. I think that we get so caught up in our own day-to-day, hustle and bustle, the grind, that we tend to forget that other people are going through the same thing. If I think you should be understanding of other people and what they're going through, and also give people a chance, man. Because I think we're so quick these days to just cut people off. We should be. But, you have to understand that these people are also going through things, and you need to be understanding of that. You need to see things from their perspective as well.
You need to have empathy.
You have to.
It's very important. That's something I've had to learn over the years. I was ruthless with this shit when I was younger, man.
I was too, man.
In my early 20s, even as a teenager, I've always had big goals. That's something that I don't know where that came from, but I've always had big goals. And back in the day, man, if you even remotely told me that I shouldn't do something, it wasn't like I'm just going to distance myself from you. It was you're out of my fucking life forever. And that's extreme. And it was unnecessary, but it's also, when it comes to especially family, parents are very scared of you to take risks these risks might improve your quality of life, but like anything, there's also a negative to it. And the parents, that's almost their job to find the negative and to make sure that you're aware of it. My dad used to do that shit. I would say, I'm going to do this. My dad would always point out, well, this could happen. And it used to infuriate me. But now I know that he did it because he cared. He was scared that I would fail. And in the process of failing, I would lose everything. But the way that I look at it, and the way I always have, especially when it comes to new business endeavors and stuff like that, is the worst thing that could happen is I have to sleep in a tent. Yeah, that would suck, especially with it being 20 degrees outside. But as long as I'm still breathing, and I learned this huge, valuable lesson. If I'm sleeping in a tent, I learned a shit ton of lessons. And while I'm sitting in this damn tent with no distractions because I'm broke as shit, I'm learning, but also along the way of failing, I was taking in new knowledge and I can bounce back from it. And that's how my mindset has always been. What's the worst that could happen? Okay, well, I'm still alive. So fuck it. I'll rebuild. I'll come back. And luckily, I haven't failed to that point.
Yeah.
But our parents, they don't want that for us. So you're right. You can't just be so quick to cut people out of your life. Oh, you don't understand me. You don't want this for me. You're gone. Sometimes they just want the best for you and they don't understand why you're taking these risks. Only you know that. Only you know why you're willing to do these things. Why you're willing to, maybe take a huge investment on something is because you want more for yourself. You can't expect anyone else to get inside your head and to see your thought process or to see where that final vision is, because that's only you know that as well. Only you know what that glorious future will look like if you accomplish this goal, which is any goal that has a significant value behind it that is going to improve your life to a high degree, there's going to be setbacks and there's going to be huge risks involved. But that's why you got to be smart about it. And you got to constantly be working at it. You can't just give up. You always got to be working towards these goals. But once again, you only see that future. You can't expect anyone else to. Yeah, it looks amazing to you. And to the outside world, they're like, this dude's lost his goddamn mind.
His fucking marbles. His marbles are loose.
You know, and so you can't cut people out for not being able to see that for themselves.
No, and I can kind of relate to how you portrayed your dad. You know, if you come to me with a business idea or whatever you come to me with, dude, I'm going to support you 100% if you're really close to me, you know. But I'm also going to let you know, like, not that you don't, but I want to let you know, like, this is what I see associated with it. I want to keep you positive, and we're going to stay positive about it, but this is what could happen. You know,
and sometimes it is very valuable. Sometimes you're like, fuck, I didn't think about that.
See it, the perspective, you know, if you encapsulate the entire process and idea, one of your close friends might see something that you don't. And it's not to hold you back or bring you down. It's to make sure you're aware of it before you jump into whatever you're going to do.
I think the difference is whenever they continue harping on it. Okay, you made it clear, you know, your thoughts on it. Thank you. Thank you for your valuable input. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you for your input. I know that you're giving this to me because you care. I've considered it. And then that's up to you to decide if you're going to move forward with it or not. And you as a friend, or them as a friend, whatever, the only thing they can do is say, okay, well, I tried my best. Now it's up to them. I voiced my concerns. Now the ball's in their court. And that's all you can do for people. Share your input, share that you care. But at the end of the day, it's up to them to take action on it or decide not to. And sometimes it's like, sometimes your friend might just save it. So don't just cut them out. Be like, oh, you don't agree with me. You're always cutting me down, blah, blah. No, they might not necessarily be cutting you down. With my dad now, growing up, it was always like that. It was, I would say something, and it was always, well, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. And it was very fucking annoying. And I know he listens to these podcast episodes. So, you know, thank you for listening for one, Dad. But over time, once I've proved myself over and over again, now when I say I'm going to do something, the entire family is just like, well, Andy's going to do that.
That's how it should
and
be,
that's I think that's everyone that knows me now at this point. If Andy says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. Once again, you kind of got to prove yourself. And that's okay too. You should want to have to prove yourself to people in regards to that. In regards to like, because talk is cheap. But when you take action repeatedly and you conquer goal after goal, for one, these people respect you more. Your friends are going to respect you more. But also, everyone's just like, all right, well, yeah, like he's going to accomplish it. But that fires them up as well. Seeing you improve and all that will make your friends and family do the same.
Hopefully.
If that's what they want for themselves, once again, if that's what they want for themselves, you could be the inspiration that they need. But maybe they don't. Maybe they think that you're just a completely different person. They want nothing to do with you anymore because you don't want to go out to the bars every Friday and Saturday night. That's their loss. You know what you can bring to the table. And if they don't see that because you have different morals and values now, then that's on them. And you got to cut that line. You got to cut the cord on it. That's a hard thing to do because, once again, you are comfortable. You're comfortable with the people that you hang out with, and you don't want to risk losing anyone because you don't want to risk being alone. You don't want to be lonely. So you continue to hang out with the same people that are holding you back for that reason because you don't want to be uncomfortable. You don't want to be sitting at home on a Friday night by yourself.
You won't lose the right people.
Yeah, no. That's what I think, it's what we've been trying to drive home for the past 30 minutes. If you are working on yourself, the right people will continue to be in your life. And you might even inspire them to do the same. There's no better feeling. But the wrong people, the people that you are no longer aligned with, that you've been forcing this friendship and relationship for years, they're just naturally going to drift away on their own. It doesn't need to be some big dramatic scene. They're just naturally going to drift away. And that's okay. You can't force these things to continue happening. And that's what we do, though. We continue to force relationships because we're so scared of losing that person.
I want to expand on that a little bit. You know, you're not going to lose the right people. You're going to gain the right people. Whether that's someone that's growing with you, who becomes the right person, whether that's someone you attract through your, path on the self-growth and self-improvement, the right people are going to eventually be there. Now that can be a lonely path, because finding the right people or attracting the right people is very difficult. Like you said,
it's a lonely path because the fact of the matter is that the majority of the population, they don't want anything more for themselves. They're happy with just the same way they've been living their entire lives. They don't want anything more. So when you do start wanting more for yourself, it gets lonely because your overall, like, the group, the potential circle is no longer there. You're alienating yourself. You are now an outcast, which is complete bullshit that we live in a day of age where self-improvement makes you an outcast, but it does. But the people that are aligned with those same values and that want the same for themselves, they are rock solid. And that's what it boils down to, the faith. That's, at the end of the day, that's what it is. You have to have faith that this path is right for you and that you will find people that are aligned with it. Because I know that there are people listening to this where they're just surrounded by fucking losers. And that sucks. It could be just some podunk fucking town somewhere where, there's only maybe 1,000 people, maybe even less. And everyone's addicted to drugs and alcohol and pills and all this other shit. And you're the one person in this entire town that wants more for themselves. Yeah, that sucks.
They're going to look at you like you're fucking crazy. Good.
Look
Take
it as a compliment.
Fucking lunatic, please.
Take it as a compliment. But that does exist, man. The town that I grew up in Florida was just small town. I had 200 people in my entire high school. I don't keep up with any of them anymore. I'm sure some of them are accomplishing great things, and I hope they are. I hope the majority of them are, but I know that's not the case. I know that most of them are addicted to pills and all this other shit now. Because that's just what you did in that town. Unfortunately, I broke away from it and I never got into it. Like, as soon as I graduated, I was like, I'm never coming back to this fucking place. And everyone's like, oh, you're going to miss these years. No, I won't. Like, I'm never looking back because I saw that life. I saw what could happen. And if anything, it was motivation to work my ass off because I wanted more for myself.
I was in the same situation, man.
Yeah, you grew up in a small town too.
Small as shit, Yeah. People get stuck and stagnant there, and, you seeing that is definitely motivation to get the fuck out and change.
Once again, it's a compliment. If these people just, they think you're crazy because you have big goals and you want more out of life, as everyone should, and if they can't see that and they think you're crazy for it, good. You cannot allow their perception of you to alter your path. You know where you're going. No one else does. And you also should not feel obligated to do things that you don't want to do. If you no longer want to go out every weekend, you don't have to do that. Just because everyone else in society is doing it every weekend doesn't mean that you have to. Whenever you start this path, you are an outcast. And you just need to embrace that. Self-improvement makes you an outcast. And it sucks that that's the reality of it, but it is. But you will be so much further ahead if you just stick to it day after day. Have those positive habits that are non-negotiables, that you won't allow their influence to change. Just keep moving forward. And it's going to be rough. It's going to be tough. At times you're going to want to not do it because it's so much easier just to not do anything. Because that is the easier path. And that's why more people do it, because it's more comfortable that way. It's easier to not do anything. and to not work on yourself and to just do the same shit every day and to just get shit-faced every night. That way you can deal with your life. But you got to keep moving forward on it. You have to have that goal in mind, that end goal. Where do I want to go? And you got to keep working there. You got to visualize it all the time. And you have to have daily habits that are going to get you there as well. And if people in your life are messing with those habits, that's when you need to have the conversation with them. And if they don't get it, and if they want to keep you down and talk to you negatively about it, cut them out. Like I said, it doesn't have to be dramatic. Just distance yourself. Detach from them. I think that's a good place to wrap up this episode.